Welcome to episode number 1 of Opening the Gates, our preview show for the Wareham Gatemen in 2023. I'm Aiden Blank, joined by our play-by-play broadcaster, Jack Hunter, and our sideline reporter / beat writer, Amanda Foster. And we are so grateful to have the brand new head coach of the Gatemen. I believe it's his first interview since being named head coach, Ryan Smyth. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time.
No problem. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Well, why don't we start, given that it is really your first introduction to Wareham? You were named the manager a couple months ago. Why don't you start with a little bit of background about you and how you came to not only be involved with the Gatemen, but you've coached a lot in the Cape Cod League. How did that come about?
So I started coaching with Jamie Shevchik, the manager of the Brewster Whitecaps, here at Keystone College, where I currently still am for the past 12 years now. And we started out coaching in the New England League for the Danbury Westerners. Jamie got an opportunity to come up with Brewster. I ended up getting the invite to come up with him, and it kind of took off from there. Obviously, we had some success in the 6 years that I was in Brewster, and then the opening came up. My name got kind of thrown in the mix, and it all went from there. And obviously, it's one of the best jobs in baseball to be a Cape League manager in the summer. It was a no-brainer. I had a lot of great times in Brewster, and very thankful for them because they gave me the opportunity, obviously, to be where I'm at right now in Wareham.
So kind of going off of Aiden's first question, then can you talk a little bit more about how you got into baseball in the first place when you played, and then how you got into coaching after that?
Yeah, growing up, I always loved baseball. Obviously, my uncle actually coached college baseball when I was growing up. So I think that always kind of pushed me baseball in general. I always used to go to games and everything. And then I played through college. I bounced around a little bit. Didn't go on the straight path there, but figured it out at the end. Ended up playing for Jamie Shevchik at Keystone, and then had an opportunity to play indie ball after. Came back and was working out with the guys in the off season, and had the option to go back to spring training or kind of get into coaching. And at the time, I was a little bit older, kind of realized that playing on TV wasn't going to be a reality for me, and decided to get into coaching. And I'm really glad I did that, because who knows if I'd be in the position I am right now if I kept chasing the dreams of having the cleats on still. So kind of all worked out. But that's kind of, it's a short, quick story, but that's kind of how it led me here.
Mm-hmm. What would you say your coaching philosophy is? How do you want your teams to play on the field? And do you think that's going to differ at all from how your teams play at Keystone compared to how you're going to try to get your guys to play here on the Cape?
Yes and no. I mean, listen, these guys are all coming in from different coaching styles, from all over the country, all different levels and everything. And I think one of the main things is I've said this in an interview or two before, but they got to have fun. They got to enjoy the summer. Yes, we want to play really good baseball, but at the same time, they're 18, 19-year-old kids, and they got to have some fun in it too. They got to appreciate the host families and the people that are opening up their houses for them, and then the kids that are coming to the ballpark. And there's never a ball that shouldn't be thrown out to a fan, or a signature that shouldn't be signed. And I think a lot of the work, pregame, early work stuff, that's where our guys are going to develop and get better throughout the course of the summer. And then it's about going out there and playing baseball, playing free, not being afraid to make mistakes. No one's going to yell at any of these guys for making mistakes. We want them to go out there, play aggressive baseball and have some fun, and see what happens at the end of the 9 innings. See what happens at the end of the summer.
Recruiting wise, if you look at the roster, fans will notice that a lot of teams are doubled up on. There's 2 guys from Arizona State, 2 guys from Arizona, 2 guys from West Virginia. Is there anything that you have learned in the recruiting process, and how do you develop those relationships? Because a lot of summer ball is, being able to have a relationship with a head coach at a university, so he continues to send guys, and you create a pipeline of, we get guys every year from a school coming to Wareham.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest portion of that is when these guys go back to school, of saying that they enjoyed their time. They love playing for the staff in Wareham. They love the area. They loved everything about the Cape and the host families, and all of that together is what builds your relationships. When anytime, even going into Brewster or in the New England League, when you get in there for the first year, you gotta build those again. We had really good relationships in Brewster, but those were built over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So it's kind of starting that process all over again, and obviously getting my feet wet with Wareham and getting in there. And I think once those players go back to school after this summer, I think that's when some of those relationships are really, really going to grow, because we intend on giving these guys a summer that they're going to remember.
You've talked about the importance of players having fun and appreciating the fact that they're on the Cape in general. I know that a lot of coaches kind of, as they coach in college or wherever they are, they have a specific mantra or mindset that they coach from and that they try to impart on their players. Is having fun the biggest one for you? Is there something else that you're hoping that you guys takes away from the season?
I hope we like winning too. No, I think at the end of the day, if our guys are getting better, they're having fun playing baseball, I think that's a recipe for success. You're going to keep guys longer. I think every manager in the Cape is trying to keep their team there as long as they possibly can. Those are some of the better teams that we had in Brewster, were the guys that ended up sticking it around and wanting to, play the last 2 weeks in the playoffs and not wanting to go home and, go to the beach or hang out with their friends or whatever. They wanted to play for a championship. And a lot of them, or most of the guys that you get in the Cape, not all of them are playing in Omaha. Not all of them played for a national title. You might get one or two that end up coming out that did, but not all of them are doing that. So to get them to want to play for a championship, whether it be summer ball or whatever it is, I think that's something that we're going to strive to do in Wareham, and hopefully it all works out at the end of the year.
For those go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, what are you gonna try to do to try to get those guys to stay? Because when you think about the Cape, you think of it's a very big opportunity for individuals to come to develop, to get seen by scouts and everything. So as a skipper, how are you gonna try to pull all those individuals together and try to unify them into trying to get wins out of it?
I think in general our coaching staff is younger. I think I might be the oldest one on our coaching staff at 36. So I believe we can relate to the player a lot more than maybe some other coaches. And I think that's a big part of it that's going to help, and understand, hey, maybe we don't need early work today. We're tired. We just played games in a row, and knowing when to pull the reins back a little bit as well. But investing in these guys, making sure that they have a good time, taking care of what their needs are, and providing them some instruction as well is I think a recipe for success. I hope. We'll find out.
For those that don't know, you have a day job as an assistant head coach at Keystone College. What have you taken from that experience and from assistant coaching in the CCBL, and how does that help you in a head coaching job like Wareham, your first in summer ball?
Well, I mean the reason why I think I'm still at Keystone for 12 years now and haven't moved on from it is, number one, I enjoy my job and I enjoy Keystone in general. I get taken care of really well. Another big part of that is obviously I get to coach under Jamie Shevchik, who is probably one day when it's all said and done going to be a Hall of Fame coach, whether it be in the Cape and probably the ABCA at some point as well. I get to sit back. I have a lot of freedom at Keystone that he allows me to have. And that was even from day one, when I pretty much knew nothing about being a coach. It was always, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. Go get it done. And you had to figure it out on your own. And I've even looked through like my filing cabinets and stuff from when I'm cleaning them out. And I'm like, to do that back then, like, what was I thinking? But it's the same way in the summer too. I had a lot of freedom, and listen, these kids are really, really talented. These are the best amateur players in the world. They don't need a whole lot of coaching. They just they need someone to write the lineup card, get them together, get them just a little bit better throughout the course of the summer. And, everything is going to play its part out. But I do believe that being under Jamie over the last decade and a little bit more has been and will be a huge benefit to me going into, my first summer as a manager in the Cape.
June 19th is the first of a few meetings between Wareham and Brewster. Can we expect that to be a fun little rivalry against your former team, your former, still kind of friend and coach?
It's it'll be a little rivalry. It always will be. I know there's a ton of people that have been reaching out to both of us about wanting to come up for that game or one of the matchups. Of course, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be different. This is going to be the first summer in a long time that we haven't been in the same dugout. So going to the home plate meeting and being face to face with each other, it's going to be a little different. But something that I'm definitely going to enjoy and hopefully come out on top.
Yeah, something that I'm interested in as somebody who goes to a Division III institution. Do you think there's anything that you can take away from being a Division III coach that you can, lessons that you've learned that you can take into the Cape this summer?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I go out to the Cape to learn. There's a big portion of it that is about learning too. I am not afraid to say I don't know everything about baseball. The person that does is lying to you. There's always something that's different that you can learn. And yes, I can take some things from, where at the Division III level that we have to do things maybe a little bit differently than a guy at any of your Power 5 schools. But there's a lot of things that I've taken from some of our past players in the summer and have brought back to Keystone. And that we've implemented in what we do. So it goes both ways.
Going off of that, what is the biggest thing that you hope to take away from the season personally?
Biggest thing I look to take away from it is building relationships with a lot of these guys. It's really cool. And we're in the stage right now where there's a lot of former Brewster Whitecaps that are cracking into the bigs, and being able to text some of those guys and get responses right away. I mean, that's really cool. There's a couple of former player of ours that are right down the road from us at Keystone in the AAA Yankee system, that I can go down pretty much any night they're home and go watch them play baseball again. That's one of the biggest takeaways. That's one of the reasons why I love coming out. Is being around pretty much a new set of really, really talented baseball players every summer. And obviously now a new organization to build a lot of relationships with them as well. I had great relationships and still do, and always will, I think, with a lot of the Brewster faithful, but looking to do that obviously now in Wareham as well.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, we're going to pepper you a little, get to know you, couple of fun non-baseball questions. Desert Island, which 3 movies are you taking?
Desert Island. That means I have a TV.
Sure.
All right. I have a TV and electricity. Probably take Bull Durham. I would take what's the war movie? I can't think of it off the top of my head with Josh Hartnett, I think it is. A couple of years ago oh man. Now you got me.
Dunkirk? Saving Private Ryan.
No, that's not it, but that is a good one. I might take that. Bull Durham, and I love The Rookie.
Can't hate The Rookie.
Yeah. All right. If you could have one final meal on Earth, what would it be?
Veal piccata.
Let's see. So I've seen some MLB teams have been debuting some sponsorships on the sleeves this year. If you had to pick one company to have on a random team that you coach's sleeve, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question.
And for the purposes of this, merchandise is supplied. They'll supply whatever it is.
Oh man, a company. Me personally, maybe Polar, because I drink a lot of sparkling water. I would go with Polar for me.
Well, we'll be at Polar Park towards
Players.
the end of the season for the game between Wareham and Bourne.
There you go.
If you did a home run derby on the field, you're hitting, and you got 10 outs, how many balls do you think you could hit over the fence today?
Whew. 10 outs. I have a good BP thrower.
Yeah. You can get anybody you want.
At YD?
Pick a field. Pick like a reasonably sized field, not a little league field.
No, Fenway Park.
Fenway Park. I don't know if I have enough muscle to get it up over the ball. I'm going to say 10 outs. I'm going to say 2.
Any assistants that you think could outdo you?
What's that?
Any assistants that you think could outdo you, or you think you're going to be the head man on the staff in that category?
Ooh, I think Mike Mobbs might be able to get me. Mike Mobbs is going to be a good one. I think he would be the next closest one.
Well, I think we might have to hold that to you at some point this summer. I don't know if one of us could throw, but maybe we'll have you face one of the pitchers. That would be a fun little feature for the socials. We'll have you face one of the pitchers.
I'll start stretching now.
Yeah, I think you versus Yoel Tejeda would certainly be one of the more fun matchups. He has not given up a ton of runs this season. We'll see if you can even foul it off. We'll give you a point for fouling it off.
Yeah, I won't foul it off. I'll get them out. I just don't know if they're going to go over the wall.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. That's Ryan Smyth, the brand new head coach of the Gatemen, and we certainly look forward to talking with some of your players over the next couple of weeks and talking with you in just less than 2 months at this point. In fact, it's April 10th as we record this. Call it 2 months from now, opening night against the, I feel like I should know this already, at Falmouth.
Yep.
Certainly looking forward to it. And we will let you go. We will let you get back to coaching, but thank you for joining us. And we look forward to watching your team this entire summer.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, everyone. Have a good one.
That's our show. We will talk to you next week with our first player interview for Jack Hunter and Amanda Foster and brand new head coach Ryan Smyth. I'm Aiden Blank saying so long. We will talk to you next week.